There are still numerous people who may wonder why is it that one has to take care what food they put into their body and why even food should be received in a certain kind of way. See, when it comes to life, most people take care what kind of fuel they put into their car. And obviously, every action has a reaction. So, whatever fuel one puts into their car, the car will function or not function correspondingly, right? You put the wrong kind of fuel, your car will not work, or there will be trouble. Some people take care what kind of data they put into their PC, and they try to make the best out of it so that they don't end up with unwanted applications and the such. While there is far less control on this side, still some people have this tendency to be safe with that regards. Now, in these two examples, things are very easy, right? Just put the right quality of fuel for your vehicle and it will work. And with PCs, well, yet again, trying to avoid certain situations or having a good antivirus or other knowledge may help prevent getting unwanted applications on your PC. But when it comes to your physical body is alive. It has a different kind of structure, and everything influences it otherwise, right? Not just it will be good or not. See, most people have been eating trash food, right? They don't call it junk food for nothing, right? You're literally putting junk into your body, low quality food, and then a lot of people are wondering why they feel like shit. A lot of people actually don't wonder about that anymore because they're used to that situation, unfortunately. Many people think if they eat the dollar menu, they are gonna still survive through the day. But school probably doesn't tell you that every 30-ish days, well, it said more like 35 or something, well, your physical body is almost entirely, let's say, all of your cells in your physical body are almost entirely replaced. Some cells, yes, they live longer, but around every 30-ish days, you know, all of your cells are kind of replenished, right? Not necessarily by number. Sometimes you may have more, sometimes you may have less, that is not important. But you get almost an entire new set of cells every amount of 30-ish days, right? Now the point is this is an ongoing process. Some cells divide faster, and some cells divide slower. But the quality of the new cells that appear is mainly dictated by what you put into your physical body. Now, the food that you eat isn't necessarily the only factor that influences that. The environment you live in also has an influence on that. If you live constantly on fear, aka if fear is what you put into your physical body, or if fear is what you feed your physical body, that will also have a tremendous influence on you, right? Because fear is, a lot of people say, a frequency or energy. You have to understand, energy is a term that is used a lot of times by highly superficial people. You have to understand that it's not necessarily energy, it is information, right? Because even the fuel that you put into your car is energy, yes, but it has a certain influence on the car, which is far simpler compared to whatever you put into your physical body. Whatever we whatever air we breathe, whatever water we drink, whatever food we eat, doesn't just have one single specific kind of influence on us. If someone is only interested in their survival and that's it, definitely this doesn't matter at all. Typically, people who are, for example, obsessed with survival, they will tend to live less because being tense means you will usually breathe faster. Faster breaths are shallow breaths, which means you're not oxygenating your system correctly. Now, how you receive these elements into your physical body, depending on the vibration that you have, or, well, your vibration is technically a kind of information, right? That information, in a way, will dictate how those elements that you add into your body, the air, the water, yes, these will have a certain influence on your body. If received in an ignorant way, they will kind of disregard your body. They will even mistreat that, right? Haven't you had situations where you drank water in hastily ways and then you felt quite weird? But even so, most likely you disregarded that. When you drank water in a calmer way, you probably may have felt somewhat of a calmer sensation, right? Water has a very profound influence on your body, given that our body is like 70% water, and each of our organs somewhat is around 70% water themselves. Even our brain is 70% water. So if we look at things, we don't need an elaborate explanation of how food can influence you. Yes, if you eat food of a certain quality, you will feel your body is somewhat more at ease, right? If you chew your food very well, you will feel that there is no more of that lethargy that we typically get, right? If you eat food hastily, firstly, you don't chew it correctly, so your stomach has to overwork. That means it will consume way more energy than if you actually chewed your food, right? Chewing your food attentively means that you are far more in tune. Yes, you are far more aware of the influences of things that can have, or you are just patient. When you do things patiently, when you don't rush, everything that you put into your physical body is perceived differently, right? Because if you only eat just to survive, that typically constantly gives your physical body and the life energies that it is comprised of, it gives them the programming that everything comes in there without any importance, right? Because when you live in survival, nothing has an importance, right? You're just interested in catching another day, in finalizing each and every action that you do, and then going on to the next, going on to the next, right? Getting onto that sleep, and then getting up, and then going to do the same mundane things there again. When you're patient, you're doing the same things again, but the way you receive things differs in a phenomenal way, depending on someone's awareness. So, how you simply eat, drink, and breathe has a certain influence on your life. One has to remember this at all times, if possible, because each and everyone's awareness level has an influence on them. And based on that, they will still do the best they can. So whether you are not fully spiritual or whether you are knowledgeable of the fact that you're not doing things in the right way and you could do them in a better way, one does not need to necessarily pull themselves down and shame and guilt trip themselves because certain cycles have not been broken yet. We are born in a society where everyone is like in a race, whoever hurts themselves even more because of abandonment issues, right? Childhood traumas, generational traumas that you have taken upon your shoulders from your parents, who have taken those from their grandparents and their forefathers, and so on and so forth. Don't play with these, don't play around with these things, don't ignore these things. Yes, like even if you ignore them, they will have a powerful influence on you. It is just that we get so used to that, we get so used to suffering that in the end, does it matter? It kind of feels that for most people it doesn't, because ignorance means that you don't take care about the pain, you don't care about the pain. When you don't care about the pain, it needs to hurt real hard so that you become aware of it and it becomes uncomfortable enough that you want to move away from it. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated, take care, enjoy life, and this being said, Ferenc Board signing out.